By newsrooms in Eugene, Roseburg, and Coos Bay. KVAL News at 11 starts now.
First at 11, in the race to get ready for the Worlds, Eugene is trying to find ways to lower the number of cars on the road as thousands of people visit for the event. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brisa Mendez in for Jacqueline Fernandez tonight. In less than 2 months, tens of thousands of people will descend on Eugene for the Worlds. And as the city prepares, they're asking locals to think about alternate modes of transportation to reduce congestion on the roads. Olivia Young has more.
As Eugene prepares to host the World, the city wants to reduce the amount of cars on the road.
If everyone drove to Hayward Field, it would be a complete mess.
They're encouraging locals and visitors alike to take alternate transport options during that time.
Walk, bike, and take transit as much as they can.
Those options include
There's a tight supply of rideshare drivers. Before the pandemic, there were about 2,000 local rideshare drivers, but Travel Lane County says right now there's about 400. Rich says Uber and Lyft both offer new driver bonuses, and it costs less than $100 to sign up. Moving on to weather now. Here's a time-lapse view of the chilly start to the day across western Oregon. Temperatures dropped to near record-breaking conditions, while some locations saw some frost. KVAL Chief Meteorologist Josh Kozar is in the Weather Center with a closer look at how close we got to breaking those records. Josh?
Well, Brisa, with these cold temperatures across western Oregon today, it felt maybe more like the month of February.
Thank you, Josh. Several search and rescue teams got on boats today to train K-9s how to find missing people underwater. Volunteer teams across the West Coast gathered at Knife Lake and Corvallis. The dogs go on a boat and sniff out the location of someone under the surface. The goal is to get these K-9s certified for water searches ahead of the busy boating season.
Being able to pinpoint that location of a drowning victim saves a lot of money for resources as far as our local law enforcement goes. And
new tonight, the number of U.S. children who've contracted a mysterious type of severe hepatitis is growing. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is now investigating 180 cases, including 6 deaths over the last 7 months. Elise Preston reports.
CDC investigators say in the last 2 weeks, they've identified 71 more children who have contracted hepatitis that has no known cause. They also report 1 more child has died from complications of the liver disease, bringing the total number of deaths to 6.
We have not found any common exposures or patterns. At present, the leading hypothesis remains an important role for adenovirus 41.
Adenovirus is a common virus and is not known to cause hepatitis in healthy children. In fact, the issue
CDC investigators are also looking at possible links to COVID-19, but it's not the primary focus because only 20% of the patients showed signs they had it at some point. Funerals are being held for the victims who were shot and killed in the racist attack at Buffalo Supermarket last weekend. 67-year-old Deacon Hayward Patterson's was today. Patterson's family is holding the service at an undisclosed location with civil rights leaders at Sharpton delivering a speech. His ex-wife spoke at press conference yesterday with Patterson's 12-year-old son, who covered his face and cried throughout as a family member struggled to cope with the tragic loss.
His heart is broken. He half sleeps. He half eats. And as a mother, what am I supposed to do to help him get through this? I need a village to help me raise and be here for my son because he has no father.
Patterson leaves behind 2 daughters and a son. Coming up on KVAL News, Russia claims total victory in one Ukrainian city. Details on how long the brutal fighting lasted.
Louder calls from Republicans for an investigation into the president's son.
This is KVAL News at 11.
Russia says it has full control of key Ukrainian port city Mariupol after nearly 3 months of infantry combat in the city. This would mark Russia's biggest victory of its invasion so far. Mariupol resting along the Black Sea in eastern Ukraine near the border with Russia. Russia claims more than 900 Ukrainian soldiers in the city surrendered. They are being held as prisoners of war. The port is a major source of power for moving supplies in and out. President Biden's son reportedly made $11 million working on overseas jobs, and that is the reason some Republicans are demanding an investigation. Was anything improper and caused a conflict for the president, or is it a part of a partisan attack? Sinclair chief political correspondent Scott Thuman has reaction from both sides tonight.
Hunter Biden, the president's son, the subject of a scathing new report by NBC News, showing that he took in about $11 million from 2013 to 2018 for his jobs working as an attorney and a board member with a Ukrainian firm accused of bribery, and his work with a Chinese businessman now accused of fraud, something further analysis by NBC News cited as a national security risk when foreign powers like China see an opportunity to get close to someone like Biden.
The American people want to know exactly what commercial ties existed between the Biden family and China and Russia and Ukraine, and they have a right to know.
The reports pointing out Biden also blew through the money fast, at times more than $200,000 a month on hotel rooms, car and mortgage payments, and supporting an admitted drug habit. Republicans seizing on the increased media attention, accusing President Biden of lying about Hunter's role and if he profited from China.
You have dealings with a foreign government, you have the president's family. I think it calls for a special prosecutor.
They want to know if Hunter Biden's business dealings ever benefited the eventual president.
I see the same people that are going after him were the people that protected Donald Trump's family every chance they could.
If Republicans take even one chamber of Congress this election season, expect formal probes, though not every member anxious for those types of hearings.
The problem is that you have some Republicans, people like Mitch McConnell and others, who have similar commercial ties.
As far as any Justice Department investigation, the White House insisted just last month there'd be no interference.
The president has never had a conversation with the Department of Justice about any investigations into any member of his family.
Further repeating that the president has to date had no conversations with Hunter about his son's overseas ventures. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
Coming up next on KVAL News, how research shows playing outdoors can help children.
Plus, after near record-breaking conditions.
Tomorrow is Kids to Park Day, a national day of outdoor play. Research shows playing outdoors can improve children's physical and mental health. Serena Marshall has more.
Today, the classroom for these Virginia.
A reminder before you hit those parks, avian flu is spreading in Lane County with North Eugene, Springfield in a quarantine area along with Coburg and part of Junction City. This comes after discoveries of cases in a backyard flock as well as wild bird cases in Alton Baker Park in Eugene. People are advised to avoid contact with wild birds to prevent the spread of bird flu. There's a low chance of it transmitting to humans and dogs. State wildlife officials recommend avoiding contact and feeding wild birds and clean off their shoes when returning home. Moving on to sports now, Trevor Denton joins us in the studio. What's new tonight?
Hey, Brisa, pivotal day on the diamond in softball. We had NCAA regionals begin for Oregon and Oregon State. Then,
before joining us tonight, we'll see you back here tomorrow night. Enjoy the rest of your evening.